everybody. Are we ready to start?
Yes.
I know someone's getting a cup of tea, but
Cheers. It's too many.
cheers. The one that likes to take their seats, we can start. I suppose this is the last part of the day. Okay, so welcome back, everybody. Lovely to see so many people here, and we've had such a wide-ranging discussion already. Those of you who don't know, my name is Beth Clark. I'm one of the associate directors in the library. My job title is Digital Scholarship and Innovation, which actually fits really nicely into everything that we've talked about today, but in particular, our next speaker, who we are very lucky to have at LSE. So we've heard a bit about Wikidata in various contexts earlier today. I'm going to welcome Adam Harangozo, who is, thank you, I got that right, thank you. He is our first, and he's got a very long job title, so let me get this right. He is our first Wikimedian in residence and research visibility champion. And he's been based at LSE for about 6 months now. Before that, you were at the National Institute for Health and Care Research in a very similar role. So welcome, Adam. I think I also need to say thank you to Liz and Susanna Morato, who's our Vice Chancellor for Research, for actually seeing the potential in this role and for agreeing to fund it, at least for the first 2 years, because sometimes it's hard to demonstrate the value of these posts until someone's actually in it and doing work. And we were in that position primarily because Helen Williams, who is our metadata manager, had done a lot of experimental work with Wikidata, and we were able to demonstrate the value of it. So thank you, Helen. I understand Adam's going to talk for about 20 minutes, and then we'll have time for questions at the end. So with that, I'll hand over to Adam. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Beth. Yes, hi everyone. I'm very happy that Wikidata and Wikimedia was mentioned before, so this might come less out of the blue. As mentioned, my role is called Wikimedian in Residence and Research Visibility Champion, which is a mouthful, but I think I got pretty good at it. I'll talk more about my role and what we do at the LSE. In a nutshell, it is about supporting researchers share their findings, their evidence through Wikipedia as a platform. You might have noticed that I changed the letter in the title of my presentation from Wikipedia to Wikimedia. I'll explain the difference, but yeah, in advance, that category includes Wikipedia as well, so I'll also talk about that. Let's see if this works. Yes, same thing. Yes, so in this presentation, I would like to try to make the case for Wikipedia and related projects being crucial for disseminating science, making it more open, making it more visible, more interconnected, and being something that acts as a bridge between academia and the general public, as that's been mentioned as an important factor of open science before, but also being as an infrastructure for open science itself. Luckily, I'm not alone with this idea. So, for example, this manifesto was published 2 years ago, written by 10 academics who, besides calling for conducting critical research about Wikimedia, Wikipedia, see the difference, but also with the aim to interrogate and reconstitute Wikimedia as public knowledge infrastructure. So this is the frame for today's talk. And now for the big reveal. So Wikimedia is the general term for a range of projects all open, all free to use, including Wikipedia. Maybe you've heard about Wikidata, Wikimedia Commons, but there's also Wikisource, Wikibooks. It's quite many so-called sister projects, and together these are the Wikimedia ecosystem. They're all run by the same non-profit foundation, Wikimedia Foundation, and all are edited mostly by volunteers. And they're also interlinked in various ways that you'll see later. Today I'll talk about Wikipedia and Wikidata in detail, and if I have time, then I'll mention a few of the others. And really, just to continue with a bit of background, so about Wikipedia. When we say Wikipedia, it's not actually one site. There are more than 300 languages of Wikipedia, all their own separate editions, their separate communities. So as a project, it really has a global reach. All of these Wikipedias together have 66 million articles. And each month, they're edited 9 million times. This only includes human beings who by hand manually edit Wikipedia. Otherwise, if we count software and automated edits, it's 15 million edits each month. This doesn't include AI. AI doesn't edit Wikipedia directly. So these are like bots, software, automated things. For example, for fixing errors, checking vandalism, etc. And globally, each month, 2 billion unique devices are used to access Wikipedias. Obviously, that's not 2 billion people, but still, it gives you an idea about the scale of its readership. So, closer look at the English Wikipedia, which is the largest. As you can see, each month it is read 7 billion times. Again, this is only the human readers, making it one of the most visited websites still. And these are the people who actually clicked on Wikipedia, but the content travels in various other channels, as you see. We know that it's the first place for many people to look for information. I like to add that I think it's often also the last. So what they find there, the information, the content they find there is very important because it shapes their understanding. So I think we could say that it has a real and wide-ranging impact on public knowledge. I won't have time to talk about reliability of Wikipedia, but if you have any questions, I'm very happy to take them. In short, there is a wide range of studies looking at English Wikipedia and finding it a reliable, high-quality source of information. Katja dropped a very well-placed spoiler about the AI traffic to Wikipedia. Again, so this is English Wikipedia. So besides that, the 7 billion times it is read each month by humans, it is read around 2 billion times or used 2 billion times by large language models, chatbots, scraping it for content. And it is a very important source of training data for AI and actually making it better and less toxic, even though they don't pay back much. It was mentioned, we'll get to that. Quick side note, I won't have time to talk more about AI. What we know is that it doesn't seem to make Wikipedia irrelevant. It doesn't seem to replace Wikipedia. There is some drop in the readership, but it doesn't seem catastrophical. What we see, though, is that it endangers the editorial community. So people actually going and becoming part of the community to contribute it. So it does present a kind of threat to Wikipedia in the long run. A quick cheeky recommendation about AI. If you can check an article called AI is Turning Research into Scientific Monoculture in Nature, and also the work of Cory Doctorow, and that's about AI. So research is already present on Wikipedia. The core policy is that whatever you put on Wikipedia, whatever information you add, you need to cite reliable sources to make it reliable. So this data is from 2024. English Wikipedia had 2.2 million citations to academic journals, to journal articles. People also click through these links to the original research. So Wikipedia really acted as a gateway to research. This is not the most current data, but still, I think it speaks a lot. It was the fifth place where most people click through DOIs to research papers. Google was the sixth in that year. This meant around between 6 to 10 million click-throughs each month to academic research. Research is not only present on Wikipedia, but it seems that it's represented in a reliable way. Hopefully, the study asked 750 authors whose research was cited in Wikipedia what they think about how their research was used, and they gave 7 out of 10 mean score on how accurately their research was represented and how trustworthy the site was when it comes to their research. Wikipedia is not only a gateway to research, but more importantly, perhaps, a gateway to open access research. So out of those references, this number is actually wrong. It's 44% that are open access on Wikipedia, which is on average higher than the ratio of open access to closed access in Web of Science. For example, yes. So Wikipedia doesn't only use open access, but kind of amplifies it, relies on it heavily. So when something is published in an open access journal, those articles, those journals have a 47% higher likelihood of being cited than Wikipedia. And on an article level, a 65% higher likelihood of being cited. So open access matters for people who write Wikipedia, who are not like a professional editor board, but volunteers, mostly volunteers around the world. And in turn, it also provides this research an increased visibility and reach. These are 3 papers with randomized experiments. The first one was about researchers asking graduate students to write, I think, 50 Wikipedia articles about chemistry topics. Half of them were published on Wikipedia, half of them were held back as control. The ones that were published, the phrases and the terminology used on those articles later appeared identifiably in actual academic journals. Also, the articles those Wikipedia articles have cited received more academic citations. So Wikipedia, being cited in Wikipedia, being visible in Wikipedia, well, has a real life impact on academia, or a real academic impact, I can say, yeah. And I think this also means that researchers do use Wikipedia for discovering information and discovering research. These are also examples about Wikipedia's real-life impact, slightly less related to social sciences or sciences. But, for example, when they did, again, a randomized experiment of creating articles for court judgments, the ones that they created actually were cited more as precedents in court. And another experiment, economists wrote Wikipedia articles about Spanish villages and towns, and they could see that there was a higher number of overnight stays as a result, especially in places which had a very short article before. So really, this is just to make the case that editing Wikipedia or dealing with Wikipedia is not, in a way, a bubble to itself, but it does have a real life impact. So So there is research on Wikipedia, but how does it get there? Obviously, so really Wikipedia is edited by volunteer editors mostly. But researchers and institutions themselves can also contribute and improve Wikipedia. As an example, let me bring the work we do at LSE. So one of the ways institutions can contribute is by hiring the Wikimedian in residence, such as myself, but universities around the UK like Exeter, Edinburgh, Leeds, and I think there are a couple of more, have this role in many cultural institutions and otherwise globally. There is quite a large number of these roles. So it is not, it's still, well, it's not new, but it's still relatively rare. So just to give you an example of the work that we do to disseminate research on Wikipedia, I'll show you one of the activities. So LSE has research about dementia caregiving and its various aspects. So one of the formats that we employ are collaborative editing workshops. Basically, a group of researchers focus on a single Wikipedia article to really improve it, update it, add their own research and anything else that is missing from it. This is just to visualize like the work that we've done, or researchers have done, rewriting the dementia caregiving article. Basically, the lead section before didn't have a definition of what dementia caregiving is, barely had any citations. And hopefully the result, and this is one of the things that we try to stress, is written in a plain, accessible language, because we're not trying to replicate a kind of academic journal, but we want a general or a wider audience at least to not just to access or not just to see this information, but be able to use it, understand it. Even though we focus on a single article at these workshops, then the new content information written by researchers can be reused in relevant Wikipedia articles. So this is the cluster of articles that were edited as a result. So the reach, even though we focus on a single article, is amplified. So we edited 6 Wikipedia articles, added 3.8 thousand words to these articles. We cited, I think the full citation count was 60 unique papers, and out of those, it's actually again a wrong number. I think 15 papers, unique papers by LSE, and these were cited 34 times across these articles. And where these research papers were closed access, we added a link to the institutional repository for an open access copy. 19 days after the workshop, this cluster of articles have been read 68,000 times, and again, only counting human readers. So hopefully we put this open access research, or this quality information, accessible information, in the way of many readers. I'm telling myself to check the time. Okay. Next up, Wikidata, another Wikimedia project. It's a knowledge base containing linked open data on everything from people, concepts, events, lexemes, and so on. It was originally created to enrich Wikipedia. So, for example, the info boxes that you see on the right side of articles, those feed from data from Wikidata. And the idea was that whatever language you have the article in, the factual basis or the data basis of this is the same. So it feeds from the same database, but it has grown exponentially since its beginning, and it is probably the largest of such databases in the internet, used way beyond Wikipedia, as you see. It has 120 million data items. I will explain what that means. And that includes also millions of items about research papers, detailed metadata about who wrote it, titles, who published it, etc. Similarly to Wikipedia, it can be edited by anyone. And of course, open data, free to use. It's Creative Commons 0, so essentially public domain, and it confirms the FAIR principles. I'll show you the structure to get you a sense of what we're talking about. So Wikidata uses so-called semantic triples, so item, property, value, category. Occupation is physicist. Probably you are familiar with this structure. This is English, but each of these items have a unique persistent identifier, so-called Q numbers, P numbers, P for properties. And this makes it language independent or multilingual because people can read it in their own languages, given that the labeling is done by humans. So that they have the labels in their own languages, but they will be reading the same Q and P numbers in their own languages, and they can also edit the same database in whatever language they're reading it. The identifiers are unique, but the labels don't have to be. So of course, there you can have multiple main streets, for example. Yeah, and of course, these are all interconnected in various ways, in a structured way. So you can ask questions from it through queries, for example, who's the mayor of San Francisco, etc. So these semantic triples, I talked about these statements, Wikidata, I think the current number is, Wikidata had 1.65 billion statements. So obviously one item can have almost an unlimited number of statements and values to those statements. Of course, there are sensible limits. Wikidata items not only have statements about these things and concepts, but also link them to other databases. So they store identifiers and link these items to other large databases, catalogs, ontologies, field-specific vocabularies. So for example, VIAF, REPAC, STW, Thesaurus, and many other. I need to wrap up soon. So I'll show you a bit of work that Helen Williams, metadata manager, has done before my time already at the LSE. What she did, just to show you a practical use of Wikidata, she took interviews that were an oral history about the history of the British suffrage and turned these audio recordings into data, created Wikidata items about the interviews and metadata about their content. And what you can see here are the organizations that are mentioned in these interviews. The size is relative to, I think, how many times they're mentioned. Here you can see the places mentioned, I think, in the interviews. So there are various ways to visualize and analyze, make sense of this data. This is just a result of a simple query. Again, these are the actual specific interviews, and I think the organization that the person interviewed belonged to. And again, wrapping up, if it is an issue for researchers that Wikidata can be edited by anyone, which in general means that it is improved by others and they can connect their own data, their own research, so enriching your data. If there's an issue, the software, the platform behind Wikidata is open source. So basically, you can create, it's called Wikibase, you can create your own instance as this project did, which is for research data by historians. And there they can limit who can edit the data. Still, this kind of creates a linked hub of these Wikibases, so it is still connected to Wikidata and both can enrich each other. You can see here an item. So one of the research projects that use FactGrid is about the history of the Illuminati, the actual historical thing. And you can see one of the letters as a FactGrid data and the visualization using this data to show how the correspondences went geographically. And there is just one of the examples. There are many other projects that use Wikibase and Wikidata. So the work is already being done. And I don't have time for all of these and this. And there is the willingness and openness from the side of Wikimedia, quite boldly saying that they will become, but I would translate it as wanting to become the essential infrastructure for the ecosystem of free knowledge. And one of the points from the manifesto I mentioned in the beginning is a call to recognize Wikimedia's role as a hub of global knowledge infrastructure. Thank you very much for your attention.
Hello. Hi, can you hear me? Thank you. Thank you so much, Adam. I love listening to you. You're always so passionate, and I think my mind's a bit boggled with all those amazing statistics, but I think we can all see the value or the potential for using Wikimedia and all those suites of all the different aspects of it. It's just phenomenal. We've got a few minutes for questions, so use them wisely. Who's got a question for Adam?
Can I?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's fascinating presentation. I also love Wikipedia very much and all the ecosystem of Wikipedia. But one issue which I'm actually really very concerned, because I'm from social sciences, political sciences, public policy. So, and this language issue. And the example which you showed us, so we are from Poland, we are very sensitive about adding Sklodowska to the surname Curie, because it is not correct to name, to use just Marie Curie, because her name is Marie Sklodowska-Curie. And it is reflected also in the EU program, right, for early career researchers, MSc, say. But it's like a minor maybe issue, but the biggest issue we see on the difference, huge difference between language versions of different articles, especially if it is related, for example, Russia-Ukrainian war, Russian aggression. You see the article in Wikipedia in English, you switch to the different languages, Ukrainian, you read, it's mostly consistent, but when you switch to Russian language, it's you can compare. It will be completely different information. So you have one article, but the content is completely different. And how to make Wikipedia safe when you use these different language versions. And when this Russian, especially with Russian language, I don't know other, Arabian or Chinese, maybe there are also some inconsistencies, but how to make sure that what is being written in English version is somehow consistent and aligned in different language versions. Because it's very important for the integrity of the, especially when we are speaking about data. These data maps will be completely different in different languages.
Thank you very much. That's a very interesting question. I had the luck not to have read the Russian article. It's a difficult question, and I wouldn't assume that the English version is the default or the gold standard, so that can have issues as well. Just to start from the end of your question, actually the data or the Wikidata part would be the same for all of the languages for the reason that people are editing the same database. Otherwise, this is one of the questions that interests me a lot. So I can see that the English Wikipedia works, and I think that's because of its size and the number of people editing it, number of people looking at these articles constantly, so a community around it. But I know that there are Wikipedias, especially smaller language Wikipedias, which work less, and that's why I said that English Wikipedia is reliable. I can say that, but I wouldn't dare to say that in general. There's no good answer to this. So it's not like the English Wikipedia can release other Wikipedias into being this or that. I would say the best way to make sure that they work is to participate and contribute. Yeah, that is the short answer.
Okay, thank you. We have run out of time, I'm afraid. I hope Adam won't mind if I say you've got his email address here, and please contact him if you want to carry on the conversation. And thank you once again, Adam, for a fantastic presentation. Then I think we're moving straight into the next session, which is the book launch and discussion panel doing open science. We look forward to that panel.